Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Hopefully you are doing well. We are ready for game week 12. The season is marching on. Let's get straight into what we need to get on with, and we're going to go straight into my team here as well. Here was my team from last week, 35 points all out. Average was 32. When we look down at our rank, hopefully you can see that now on the screen, 115,000 overall. Very, very happy. 40 odd thousand rank increase from last week for us was brilliant. The only negative was we had Cameron Archer for that fantastic strike on the bench, but Gordon Bowen returning with Trippier. We take that all day long. We didn't use a transfer last week. That was our team. I'm very, very happy with it. I don't want to spend too much time on the team this week. You'll notice that I've made one move already. I've gotten rid of Udoji because that was a move I was wanting to make anyway. He wasn't looking like the defender that we needed. Clean sheets weren't fantastic there for Spurs, and when they were getting clean sheets, Udoji was coming off the pitch, which was frustrating. But the team for this week, Areola, again, Turner's probably lost that spot now to Vlaco, so definitely not expecting Turner to play anytime soon, and can have a conversation around what we do with him a little bit later. Then the defense for me this week is very, very tough to pick. At the moment, I'm settled on Cash, Gabriel, and Trippier. Again, Gabriel, we know we brought him in for the Sheffield United game there, and he didn't get a minute, which was frustrating, and then he played 90 against Newcastle, then he played Champions League during the week. Burnley at home, again, is another fixture I'm targeting for Arsenal. So I'm really hoping that Gabriel can play clean sheet, 6 points, lock loaded. Thanks for coming. Again, we have brought in Guehi this week. The reason I've brought in Guehi is more or less to target the Luton away fixture than the Everton at home. Everton so far in the last few weeks have been very, very solid, albeit they lost 2-0 to Liverpool. But Liverpool also had them at 10 men, and it took till 75 minutes, and then like a last kick of the game for 2 goals. So Everton have improved. Kind of frustrated now that I don't have Pickford because the Everton defence is looking good. Again, Crystal Palace have Eze back fit and firing too. So this game's one where it could be a 1-1, 2-1 or a 0-0. So that's why I've got Guehi sort of sitting first on my bench over Tsimikas, because I expect Brentford to score in this game, and I don't know how confident I am in Tsimikas to get an attacking return, although he's on corners and he takes some set pieces. I think, and he has some rotation risk in there. If we're winning, Joe Gomez will probably come on. So I don't see Simi playing 90 minutes. Again, that could mean, though, that we have a clean sheet locked up in 65, 70 minutes, though, and, Klopp brings him off. But I think Fulham and Cash at home, Villa are a different beast. If this game was away, then I'd be very tempted to play one of Guehi or Tsimikas. But because this is at Villa Park, I'm backing in Matty Cash with the potential attacking returns. He's gone 6-2-2-5-0. Again, that's all been mostly relying on clean sheets. He's only got the 1 assist, and he's got the 2 goals there against Burnley. So everyone's talking about the returns or the numbers. The returns I don't think have been there yet for Matty Cash. He's someone who, when this fixture run turns here for Man City, Arsenal, Brentford, Man United, he's probably going to come out of my team at 5.2 million, but for now, I'm very, very settled with the defense. I don't like making heaps of defender transfers, but Udoji, I was looking for a reason to make that move, because then they go Villa, City, West Ham, Newcastle. That's not going to be a great run for Spurs, so I thought I might as well make the move now whilst he's suspended going into the international break. So we do have one more free transfer for this week, but I'm not moving it just yet. So moving to the midfield, this is where I'm very, very happy with our team. I'm playing all 5 again this week. Diaby, Son, Bowen, Gordon, Salah. Gordon likely to play up front this week. He has been an absolutely amazing inclusion into this team. I'm pretty sure I brought him in on wildcard, which would have been around here. I reckon we definitely had him for Burnley, because that was his first game. He got the yellow card. I brought him in, got the suspension. Then he's gone 8-2-7, and against Wolves, he was fantastic as well. So very, very happy owning Anthony Gordon at the moment. With Bournemouth, Chelsea at home, I think he could score. Man United at home, he could score. Everton away, he could score in that. And, you're talking game week 16 to 20. Spurs, Fulham, Luton, Forest, Liverpool. I think Gordon is just going to be locked in that spot for me moving forward. Jared Bowen, someone I've been very, very happy with, although he's had some inconsistencies with his performances. I reckon I brought him in around game week 7 with this Sheffield United game. He's on like 9-2, 8-2-7. Typically returns in the away games, but again, he's just playing in a team where he plays 90 minutes. He's shown he's been on penalties in the past, depending on what Panorama's doing. Obviously, they've lost Declan Rice as well. So Bowen, I'm just very, very happy with. If you don't have Jared Bowen, the fixtures here are fantastic. Nottingham Forest at home, Burnley away, Crystal Palace, Spurs, Fulham, Wolves. Spurs' defence is completely depleted at the moment with a few injuries and suspensions. I think if you need that sort of mid-price midfielder and you've got the funds, I think Bowen's definitely worth targeting. Diaby, been very frustrating to own. He can explode for big points. He ticks along okay. Again, Forest 2-0 was a bit of a freak result after he got a golden assist against Luton. He's probably only got this week and probably Bournemouth left for me in my team before we start looking at moving some funds around. But again, Fulham at home. Fulham are decent. I'm not saying Fulham are a bad side, but I expect Aston Villa's home form to continue and bounce back from that 2-0 loss against Nottingham Forest last week. So I'm expecting Diaby to return. Darwin Núñez is probably the last player in the team that I'm not 100% settled with. I don't expect him to play next week against Man City from the start. Doesn't mean he can't come on and return big time, but coming off an international break, we know what the South American players typically do, so I'm not expecting a Darwin Núñez masterclass there against Man City, but I like the Fulham, Sheffield United games before a tough game against Palace away, then Man United, Arsenal, Newcastle, so he's probably going to be at that point of being sold there, and Haaland, we don't need to talk about him too much, so that is my team for this week. Salah gets the captaincy because Salah loves a home fixture. Brentford are going to sit there in the 3-5-2 typical. They're not going to sit back and defend the whole game, but I'm expecting it to be a little bit difficult. But there's a world where he gets a penalty and assist, and he ends up walking away with a 10 to 14 pointer. Chelsea with Haaland is going to be an interesting one. Chelsea's defence has been very solid this year, so I think it's a very 50-50 decision between Haaland and Salah. Both could get hat-tricks, both could blank this week. I'm backing the home fixture and the form of Mohamed Salah over Erling Haaland, but I'm very happy owning Haaland, Salah, Son as well. We didn't really speak about Son. Going to be interesting to see what happens creatively with Tottenham this week because obviously Maddison's now out for quite a while. It looks like they're saying up to at least mid-January, which is 6 weeks or so. So Son as the talisman, I still think he's going to be okay. There's still enough creative players around Son for that to work, but it's going to be very, very interesting. So let's have a look at what the team is going to look like long-term before we get into some transfer targets for you guys this week. So this was the team for this week. So for next week, I've already optimized it as well. So I'm going to be playing Archer next week as well. And I'm thinking about potentially moving Diaby. So this is the Diaby spot. If I need money, Diaby can easily be moved because I don't think him playing against Spurs away is going to be fantastic. Again, it's the fact that I'm going to have 2 transfers with this team and not really sure where to move it. It could be that Cash comes out next week as well. Again, I haven't looked too much into those defensive transfers, but if we look at the 4-week projected points, we know that Arsenal defense is one to target, but again, next week's not a fantastic fixture with Brentford away. You could look at something around the Newcastle defense again, but it's Chelsea, Man United, Everton. There's not a lot of defenses out here that I'm really wanting to target. The one that you might want to look at is someone, I'm just going to put Stupinian as the player, although I know he's injured, but they get Sheffield United, Forest, Chelsea, Brentford, Burnley. So you could look at a Brighton defender, depending if a dunk's nailed or whatnot as well, or you're kind of looking at Man United defense. So I don't want to keep making heaps of defensive transfers, but I haven't particularly thought through who the best options are yet in the defense. Again, it could be a double up on Crystal Palace. It could be a double up on West Ham, although I don't particularly like the double up on West Ham. So there are definite options there for you guys moving forward. So I just want to pull up the Opta stats for us because I don't want to particularly give you guys transfer recommendations when I don't think that they are the best options. But for a lot of you guys, what I will be looking at, especially if you do have Fantasy Football Hub, is looking at things like the XGI. We know that it's not going to be fantastic. We're just going to take Erling Haaland out of this because everyone knows how good Erling Haaland is. Brian Mbeumo is just somebody who I think everyone needs to start considering in their teams because the fixture run they get from 14 is brilliant. So you get Luton at home, Brighton away, which Brighton can see goals, Sheffield United away, and then they get Villa at home. So Villa away from home and they're not the best defence away from home. We know he's a 90-minute man. He's on penalties. The data we've just seen is fantastic. He's at 6.8 million. There's definite potential for returns against Liverpool and Arsenal. And Mbeumo is someone I'm definitely looking at bringing straight back into my team. I love him this year. He's fantastic. I know he blanks in game week 8, but if you're only rolling with 3 City or Brentford players in your team in game week 18, you should be able to cover with your bench. And then you get Wolves, Palace, Forest, Spurs, City, Wolves, Liverpool, like the fixtures, he's almost fixture proof as well. We've seen him return in big games. We saw him get the big return against Chelsea, and he's got big returns against Burnley in those back-to-back games as well. So I'm very excited about potentially owning Brian and Mbumo moving forward. And the other big talking point this week is probably Bukayo Saka. So he got the flag in the Champions League game. Burnley at home for him is a fantastic player. Him at home is a completely different player. You can see that Hub's got him predicted at 65 minutes. That's a combination of the injury and then probably thinking if they are in front, he might come off. But then you still get Brentford, Wolves, Luton, Villa, Brighton. So I think Arsenal definitely have the best fixtures to target if I was you guys. So if you're needing an Arsenal attacker, I think it has to be Saka. I know the numbers haven't been there particularly, but I think that's going to turn for him because he is a fantastic player. A big question we've been getting is around Arsenal defenders, and if I am you guys, I'm 100% going with Saliba. I know he's 5.3 million, but he's just the one guy that's locked and loaded. I know I own Gabriel, and that was because I couldn't get the funds to get to Saliba. If I could get to Saliba, 100% I would be on William Saliba. And with Burnley at home, I know Brentford away is not fantastic, but you might just have to ride that one fixture. But then you get Wolves, Luton, Villa, Brighton, West Ham, Crystal Palace. So definite buy this week if you can. If you're looking for a Udogie replacement or a Romero replacement and you've got funds in the bank, make sure you're looking at William Saliba. But this is my team on screen. I'm locked in. I'm not making any tinkers. I've got one free transfer going now into the international break. So we'll have 2 free transfers in the international break. Again, injuries, suspensions, things might happen this week that force my hand next week, but I'm not too bothered by it at the moment. So if you've liked this video, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Make sure you're here next week for our Game Week 13 preview and international roundup. But once again, best of luck for your teams, and let's see if we can push into the top 100k.